Now, purpose of SA 700 series. Now, why the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has given this SA 700 series and prescribed the format of audit report. See, if each and every auditor gives different format of audit report, then the users will confuse. Okay, regarding the audit report. So if a standard format of audit report is maintained, then you can easily compare the audit reports of all the auditors, and it will also become easy to the users to understand the audit report. So in order to prescribe the audit report format and in order to standardize the reporting aspect in case of a audit, SA 700 series has been given. Okay, that is purpose of SA 700 series. C, to maintain consistency and comparability of audit reports, conducting audit in accordance with SS promotes credibility in the global market. Okay, help to promote users' understandings of the audit reports. Okay, next. SA 700. Now we'll start with SA 700. I have already told you SA 700 deals with format of audit report in case of unmodified opinion, right? Now, objectives as per SA 700. What is the objective of auditor as per SA 700? See, the objective of auditor is to form an opinion on the financial statements based on the conclusions that are drawn from his audit, and therefore he will report that opinion in the form of a audit report. That is the objective of auditor as per SA 700. Okay, to form an opinion and to report that opinion, right? Next, types of audit opinions. If you see broadly, there are two types of audit opinions. One is unmodified opinion and another one is modified opinion. Okay, here in SA 700 we will deal with unmodified opinion. With respect to modified opinion, we will cover in SA 705. Modified opinion, again it is of three types, right? Qualified opinion, adverse opinion, disclaimer of opinion. That we will cover in SA 705. See, types of audit opinions. Unmodified opinion, modified opinion. Modified opinion will deal with SA 705. Now, when auditor will give unmodified opinion, if auditor feels that the financial statements are prepared in all material respects in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework. Okay, applicable financial reporting framework means either Ind AS or accounting standards in case of India. Okay, if the financial statements are prepared as per applicable financial reporting framework and there are no misstatements in the financial statements, then auditor will give unmodified opinion. Okay, if based on the audit evidence financial statements are not free from material misstatements, auditor is unable to obtain audit evidence to conclude that financial statements are free from material misstatements. In this situation, auditor will give modified opinion. Hope that is clear. Next, elements of audit report. Elements of audit report means in the audit report there will be subheadings, right? So we'll call them as elements. What are the various elements of audit report? Let's see. First of all, you will have title. What will be the title? Independent Auditors Report. That is the first element. Next, addressee. To whom you are addressing this audit report. Generally, you will address audit report to members, the shareholders, right? Next, opinion paragraph. In the opinion paragraph, auditor will express his opinion. Next, basis for opinion. Okay, on which basis auditor has derived this opinion, that auditor will express in basis for opinion. Next, material uncertainty related to going concern. If at all there is any material uncertainty related to going concern as per SA 570, then auditor will report the same in this paragraph. Okay, material uncertainty related to going concern. Next, emphasis of matter paragraph. Emphasis of matter paragraph will be dealt by SA 706. We will discuss about that in SA 706. Next, key audit matter dealt by SA 701. See, this is the order in which the paragraphs has to be presented in the audit report. Next, other information paragraph, which will be dealt by SA 720. Next, you will have management responsibility, auditor's responsibility. Okay, in the management responsibility, you will disclose the responsibility of the management, like preparation of financial statements, establishment of internal controls to provide the required information to the auditor, right? These are the responsibilities of management. In the same way, responsibilities of auditor to express the audit opinion. Next, other matter paragraph again will be dealt by SA 706. And signature place of signature where you have signed, and the date of signature, okay, date of auditor's report, on which date you are issuing audit report. So these are the elements of audit report. Now we'll discuss each element one by one. Firstly, auditor's opinion. See, the first element, title and addressee, you already know that. Okay, title means independent auditor's report, addressee, you will address whoever have appointed you, okay, generally the members. Next, auditor will give his opinion, you will call it as auditor's opinion paragraph. Okay, now in the auditor's opinion paragraph, auditor has to refer to certain aspects. What are they? First of all, auditor has to identify the name of the entity whose financial statements have been audited. Okay, identify name of the entity. Next, you have to state that you have audited the financial statement. Okay, state that financial statements have been audited, and you have to recognize the name of each statement constituting the financial statement, like balance sheet, profit and loss statement. If the cash flow statement is applicable, cash flow statement, you need to identify name of each statement forming part of the financial statements. See, identify the title of each statement comprising financial statements. Next, refer to the notes. Okay, you will also give notes to the financial statements. You should also refer to that notes and specify the date or period that is covered by financial statements. Basically, the balance sheet, it will be prepared as on 31st March. So you should refer that date as on 31st March of so and so year. Profit and loss will be prepared for a period, like you should mention from 1st April 2024 to 31st March 2025. So the period you have to clearly mention in your opinion paragraph. Okay, so all these aspects needs to be referred in your opinion paragraph. Okay, next, coming to basis for phrase to be used for unmodified opinion. Okay, if you are giving unmodified opinion, then which phrase you have to use? The phrase that you have to use will depend on the financial reporting framework that the entity is using. See, if the entity is using fair presentation framework, there are two types of frameworks. One is fair presentation framework, another one is compliance framework. What is the difference? In case of fair presentation framework, it will allow to deviate from the framework if such deviation gives more fair representation of an item. Okay, if the deviation from the framework allows more fair presentation, then such framework is known as fair presentation. Okay, a fair presentation framework. Okay, if any framework allows to deviate from the framework for preparing the financial statements, then such framework is known as fair presentation framework. Okay, and such deviation should be made when the management feels that because of such deviation it results into more fair presentation of that particular matter. Okay, in such a situation only the deviation from the framework has to be allowed. That is known as fair presentation framework. If the deviation is not allowed, you have to strictly follow the framework. Whatever might come, you have to strictly follow the framework. That is known as compliance framework. Now, if a fair presentation framework has been used, then auditor, the phrase of the auditor's opinion in case of unmodified opinion will be like this. See, in our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly in all material respects, or the auditor can also use the following phrase. In our opinion, accompanying financial statements give true and fair view. Okay, you can say either present fairly or giving true and fair view. Okay, next, if compliance framework has been used, in case compliance framework has been used, auditor has to state that financial statements have been prepared as per the financial reporting framework. That's it. See, the accompanying financial statements are prepared in all material respects in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. Okay, those are the phrases that you will be using. Next, coming to basis for opinion paragraph. Now, in the basis for opinion paragraph, auditor will express how he has derived that opinion which he has given in the opinion paragraph. Here, auditor should refer the following. See, basis for opinion paragraph shall state that the audit was conducted in accordance with the standards on auditing. Okay, for purpose of conducting this audit, we have followed standards on auditing. This point you need to mention. See, you have to mention this point only if you have actually followed all the standards on auditing. Otherwise, you cannot mention this point. Okay. Next, refers to the section that describes the auditor's responsibility under the SS. See, in this audit report, we are giving a separate paragraph, auditor's responsibility paragraph. Okay, that paragraph will be after the management's responsibility paragraph. So now in the basis for opinion paragraph, auditor has to refer that auditor's responsibility paragraph which the auditor has given in the audit report, stating that our responsibilities are as per the auditor's responsibility paragraph. Okay, you have to give such reference. Next, includes the statement that auditor is independent of the entity and he has complied with all the ethical requirements. Okay, all the ethical requirements, the 5 fundamental principles we have discussed, right? Integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, professional competence, and due care, right? Professional behavior. All these 5 fundamental principles auditor has complied, and he has also been independent during the entire audit. This point he needs to mention in the basis for opinion paragraph. Next, state whether the auditor believes that audit evidence obtained is sufficient and appropriate for the purpose of expressing the audit opinion. Okay, whether the audit evidence that the auditor has obtained is sufficient and appropriate for the purpose of expressing audit opinion or not. Okay, this point also you should mention in the basis for opinion paragraph. Hope that is clear. Now, coming to the next paragraph, which is management responsibility paragraph. In this management responsibility paragraph, you will express the responsibility of the management. What is the responsibility of the management? They are responsible for preparing financial statements in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework. They are also responsible for establishing internal controls, right? It is the responsibility of management to establish the internal controls. Okay. Next, assessing entity's ability to continue as a going concern as per ST 570, whether the entity is eligible to continue as a going concern or not. Okay, you have to, the management has to mention that it has assessed the entity's ability to entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Okay, it is the responsibility of the management to assess the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. After management has assessed, auditor will verify, okay, whether the assessment of the management is proper or not. You will find that point in auditor's responsibility paragraph. Okay, in auditor's responsibility paragraph, you will mention that auditor is responsible for verifying the appropriateness of management's assessment of entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Hope that is clear. Next, this section shall identify those responsible for oversight of financial reporting process if the persons who are responsible for implementing them are different. Okay, if the person who is, or if the people who are responsible for implementing is different from the people who are responsible for overseeing the financial statements, then you have to mention the person who is responsible for overseeing the financial statement. Okay, see, this section shall identify those responsible for oversight of financial reporting process when those responsible for oversight are different from those who fulfill the responsibility described in the paragraph. Hope that is clear. Okay, the people who have implemented the requirements of paragraph is different from the people who is having responsibility to oversee the financial statements, then you need to mention in this paragraph, in the management responsibility paragraph, the people who are responsible for oversight of the financial statement. That people you need to mention in management responsibility paragraph. Okay. Next comes auditor's responsibility paragraph. Now, responsibility of the auditor is, in this paragraph, auditor needs to state that his objective is to examine, obtain reasonable assurance about whether financial statements are free from material misstatement. After obtaining reasonable assurance, he will express the opinion in the form of audit report. Issue an auditor's report that includes the auditor's opinion. Next, state that reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance but not a guarantee that audit will detect all the misstatements. Okay, in case of an audit, auditor will give only reasonable assurance. He cannot give absolute assurance. So he need to mention this point in his auditor's responsibility paragraph, stating that I will give only reasonable assurance. Reasonable assurance means a high level of assurance but not a absolute assurance. Like this you should clearly mention in the auditor's responsibility paragraph, okay, to avoid confusion. Next, state that misstatements can arise either from fraud or from error, and these misstatements will become material if they impact the decision making of the users. You have to mention this point. See, describe that they are considered material if they could reasonably expected to influence the economic decision making of the users, or if the material misstatement is having any different definition as per the applicable financial reporting framework, then you have to mention that same definition here. See, or provide definition or description of materiality in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. Okay, if the applicable financial reporting framework has a defined materiality in a different manner, you have to give the definition here. If the applicable financial reporting framework is silent with respect to materiality, you have to mention this point. Okay. Next, still auditor's responsibilities only. Auditor exercises professional judgment and maintains professional skepticism throughout the audit. You have to mention that throughout the audit, I will exercise professional judgment, and I will also maintain professional skepticism. Okay, professional skepticism means questioning mind. Professional judgment means ability to apply all the knowledge and experience that you have obtained is known as professional judgment. Okay, in taking any decision, you have to apply all these. Okay, next, describe an audit by stating the auditor's responsibilities are to identify and assess risk of material misstatement, to obtain understanding of internal control that are relevant for the purpose of audit, to evaluate appropriateness of accounting policies used and reasonableness of accounting estimates that the management has made. Right, while preparing the financial statements, management will use various accounting policies. Management will make various accounting estimates. The auditor has to verify whether those accounting policies and accounting estimates that the management has taken are reasonable or not. Next, to conclude on appropriateness of management's use of going concern basis of assumption. Okay, in the management responsibility paragraph, we have discussed that it is responsibility of the management to assess the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Now, auditor has to check the appropriateness of assessment that has been made by the management to evaluate overall presentation structure and content of the financial statements. Okay, these are the auditor's responsibilities. Okay, now where the auditor's responsibility paragraph has to be presented. Location of auditor's responsibility paragraph. There are three options. You can include auditor's responsibility paragraph in the main audit report, in the body of audit report, or you can give the auditor's responsibility paragraph as a annexure to the audit report, or if the responsibilities of the auditor are mentioned somewhere else or in any website the responsibility of auditor is mentioned, in such a situation you have to make reference to such website where the auditor's responsibilities have been prescribed. See, within body of auditor's report or as an appendix to the auditor's report or specific reference to location of such description on a website. Let's say for example, in case of a bank audit, the bank will make the appointment of auditor. Now, bank in its website has listed the responsibilities of auditor. In such a situation, auditor in his audit report can make reference to the website of the bank wherein the responsibilities of auditor has been prescribed. Just an example I have given. Okay. Next, report on other legal and regulatory requirements. See, the audit report, it will be divided into two parts. One is report on audit of financial statements. After the report on audit of financial statements is completed, at the end you will also find the second part, which is report on other legal and regulatory requirements. What will be covered here? Reporting under section 143 subsection 1 of Companies Act, reporting under section 143 subsection 3 of Companies Act. Next, CARO reporting. Next, internal controls over financial reporting. Okay, all these are reporting requirements under other laws or regulations. Okay, so all these will be given in this second part. Let us see. These are in addition to auditor's responsibilities under standards on auditing. Okay, the responsibilities of auditor under standards on auditing will be reported in the first part, that is report on audit of financial statements. In the second part, you will report this. Okay, present in separate section with the heading report on other legal and regulatory requirements. If you observe any audit report, you will find two parts. Okay, in the audit report, the first part, in the starting itself, it will be mentioned report on audit of financial statements. After the entire report is completed, at the end, you will also find report on other legal and regulatory requirements. In that report, you will find reporting under section 143, subsection 3, and CARO reporting. You will mention that CARO has been given as an annexure to this audit report. Like this, you will mention. If the internal control of financial reporting is also there, you will also mention that ICFR is also has been given as a annexure to this audit report. Like this, you will mention, right? All this reporting you will do in other reporting. You will do in report on other legal and regulatory requirements. Okay. See, report on other legal and regulatory requirements shall follow the report on audit of financial statements. Okay. So the audit report can be divided into two parts. One is report on audit of financial statements, and the second part is report on legal and regulatory requirements. Now, if the legal and regulatory requirements is same as that of standards on auditing, okay, whatever has been required in the standards on auditing, the same has been required in some law or regulation also. In such a situation, you need not separate. Okay, you need not give two parts of the audit report. In the same single part itself, you can continue. See, same topic as is covered in standards on auditing is also prescribed by some other law or regulation. In such a situation, presented in the same section as the related report elements required by this SS. Okay, you need not present the second part. But however, there should be clear differentiation from the reporting that is required by SS. Okay. In the same section itself, you can present the reporting requirement under other law or regulation also, if the requirement of other law or regulation is same as that of the standards on auditing. Hope that is clear. Example for reporting and under other law or regulation is section 143 subsection 3, CARO 2020. Okay, in section 143 subsection 3, there will be list of points on which the auditor has to report. There will be around 12 points on which auditor has to report, right? Next, signature. Auditor, if auditor is a sole proprietorship firm, then auditor will sign on behalf of himself, right? Shall be signed in the personal name. If auditor is partnership firm, then he will sign on behalf of his name and on behalf of his firm also. See, shall be signed in personal name as well as in firm name. Here is an example I have given. Note, mention membership number and firm registration number also. You should also mention UDIN, right? Unique document identification number you should also mention in the audit report. That is with respect to the signature. Next, place of signature. See, wherever you are signing the audit report, that place you need to mention. See, mention the city where the audit report is signed. It need not be head office of the audit firm. See, it need not be registered office of the client or the auditor. Wherever you are signing the audit report, that city name you can mention. Next, date of auditor's report. See, you should not date your audit report until and unless all the audit evidence has been obtained. Okay. You should date your audit report only after all the audit evidence has been obtained. However, you can document the audit evidence after the audit report has been given. Okay, within 60 days from the date of audit report, you can document that audit evidence. But gathering or collecting of audit evidence from the client has to be done before the date of audit report only. Hope that is clear. See, shall not be dated earlier than the date on which auditor obtains sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Okay, auditor's report prescribed by law or regulation. Okay, if any law or regulation prescribes the audit report, then in that audit report, auditor has to mention that standards on auditing have been complied while doing this audit only if standards on auditing have actually been complied. Okay, and if the law or regulation prescribes a different wording of his opinion. Okay, basically SS 700 has prescribed the wordings of the auditor's opinion, but different law or regulation as per which auditor's appointment has been made prescribes different wordings. Now, in such a situation, auditor can state that he has complied with the standards on auditing only if all the wordings mentioned in the audit opinion as per SS is also present in the wordings that is mentioned as per that other law or regulation, and the audit report that you give as per that other law or regulation, if it contains all the basic elements that we have discussed in SA 700 series, only then you can mention that the audit was conducted in accordance with standards on auditing. Okay, this is a situation if you are giving audit report as per other law or regulation. Okay, you have been appointed as per other law or regulation. Okay, if you don't follow standards on auditing, you should not mention that you have followed standards on auditing. That is simple. Okay, next, auditors report for audits conducted in accordance with both SAS and international standards on auditing or standards of other jurisdictions. Sometimes what will happen is, let's say an American company is having a branch office in India or a subsidiary in India. Now, for the Indian subsidiary, you will conduct auditing in accordance with standards on auditing, and the audit report of Indian subsidiary should also be sent to that American parent company. So, for sending the audit report of Indian company to the American parent company, the audit report has to be as per international standards on auditing, because the parent company is American company. So in this situation, you can give same audit report for both standards on auditing and international standards on auditing only if certain conditions are satisfied. What are they? There should not be conflict between standards on auditing and international standards on auditing. Okay, that is the first situation, first point that needs to be satisfied. Next, if let's say as per standards on auditing, auditor has to mention emphasis of matter paragraph or other matter paragraph in the audit report, then as per international standards on auditing also that requirement should be there. Okay, for that particular matter, auditor should mention emphasis of matter paragraph or other matter paragraph in the audit report. Only then he can issue same audit report for standards on auditing and international standards on auditing. Okay, see, otherwise he has to give different audit reports. US company is having a branch or subsidiary in India, then auditor's report may refer SAS in addition to international standards on auditing only if no conflict between standards on auditing or ISAs, that is international standard auditing, that would lead the auditor to form different opinion, or not to include emphasis of matter or other matter paragraph that in particular circumstances required by SAS. Okay, as per standards on auditing, auditor is required to give emphasis of matter or other matter paragraph for a particular situation, but for that particular situation, international standard on auditing is not requiring any emphasis of matter or other matter paragraph. In this situation, there is a conflict between these both standards on auditing and international standards on auditing. So here auditor cannot give same report for both of them. Okay, you have to give a separate report for standards on auditing, you have to give separate report for international standards on auditing as per their requirement. Next, there is also another condition that needs to be satisfied. See, the auditor's report include at minimum each of the elements set out in the auditor's report prescribed by law or regulation discussed above when the auditor uses layout or wording specified by the standard on auditing. Okay, at least the minimum basic elements that we have discussed in this SA 700 must be present in that audit report that the auditor gives as per that particular law or regulation. Basically, this point is for the audit report that the auditor uses as per the audit report that auditor issues as per different law or regulation. Okay, for that this point has to be applicable, right? Next, supplementary information presented by financial statements. Supplementary information means, let's say for example, auditor has prepared not the auditor, the management has prepared profit and loss statement. In the profit and loss statement there will be sales, right? In the notes, the management has given region wise sales. This is known as supplementary information. Okay, this information is not required by the financial reporting framework, even then you are giving this information. So this is known as supplementary information. Now if management gives such a supplementary information in the financial statements, whether auditor's report should also include the opinion on such supplementary information or not. Hope you understood. Okay, auditor will give his audit opinion on the financial statements. Now in the financial statements there is a supplementary information that is not required by the financial reporting framework. Now whether auditor's report should also include opinion on this supplementary financial information, the answer is it depends. you have to check whether supplementary information is integral part of financial statements. Integral part of financial statements means without having supplementary information, you cannot understand the financial statements. In such a situation, supplementary information will become integral part of financial statements. Okay, so if supplementary information is integral part of financial statements, sorry, then obviously auditor in his audit report must give opinion on supplementary information also. If supplementary information is not integral part of financial statements, then auditor need not give his opinion on the supplementary information. Okay, when you will say supplementary information is not integral part of financial statements, when you can understand the financial statements even without having supplementary information, then you will say supplementary information is not integral part of financial statements. Okay, now when supplementary information is not integral part of financial statements, care has to be taken that there has been proper separation between supplementary information and the financial statements. Hope that is clear. See, okay, supplementary information given in the financial statements, but it is not required by the applicable financial reporting framework. Then auditor shall evaluate whether such a supplementary financial statement is integral part of financial statements. If it is integral part of financial statements, then supplementary information shall be covered by the auditor's opinion. If supplementary information is not integral part of financial statements, then evaluate whether clearly differentiated from the audited financial statements. Okay, if the supplementary information is not integral part of financial statement, then you have to evaluate whether there has been a proper separation between financial statements and supplementary information. And if not, if there is no proper separation, okay, if there is no clear differentiation, then ask the management to change the presentation of the financial statements by clearly differentiating supplementary information. Okay, if management refuses, then explain in auditor's report that supplementary information has not been audited. Okay, if management refuses to properly differentiate between financial statements and supplementary information, then auditor in his audit report has to clearly mention that the financial statements are in such a way that they are not differentiating supplementary information and the financial statements. Okay, they are looking as if they are integral part, but they are not integral part. So I am not providing any opinion on the supplementary information. Like this, you have to clearly mention in your audit report. Hope that is clear. So by this, we have completed discussion of SA 700. Okay,